Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So I have been speaking about installing all of this stuff for quite a few videos. I just haven't had the time. Just been so busy and everything, and now I got a little time to myself to be able to work on the car. So we're actually going to install one of these items. The item that we're going to be installing are the Beatrush differential bushings. Beatrush is a Japanese product. So as you can see, all the instructions and all the little pamphlets and papers that you get are in Japanese, so kind of hard to read, obviously, because I don't know how to, but they give you some instructions, but it's really simple install. Basically, there are already bushings in the differential in the STI already, but there's actually little inserts, little holes of where those actually slip into. So what you're actually going to do is remove, I believe they're 14mm bolts, and then actually just slip these in. So you do get these bushings like this already with the aluminum insert in. What you're going to do is actually pop it out so you can install it much easier. These are a poly bushing, so it's really strong. They're never going to break down, and as you can tell, there's no give to them. Maybe a little bit, but compared to the rubber and soft bushings in the differential now, these are a huge upgrade. And then the little insert here is an aluminum insert, so it's very nicely made, very high quality, and I'm really happy I'm putting a Beatrush product on the STI. This is my first product by Beatrush that I've ever installed. So a lot of people recommended these, so I decided to go with them, try them out, see what it's like. And what these actually do is the differential, they're already, like I said, there's already bushings in the differential, but they're very soft, they're very pliable. So you get some drivetrain loss, you get some play. And what this is actually going to do, it's stiffen it up. So you're going to remove that slop, that play, and you're going to get a more direct feel from the differential. So for about $100 or so, these are 100% a very reasonable product, something that you can do on your own very easily. We also got a bunch of other stuff that we're going to install throughout the week. We got a front 26mm front sway bar. I already have end links on the car, so I'm just connecting them with that. I'm still waiting on the JDM auto folding mirrors, the actual mirrors. I have everything else. I have the switch, the arm piece for all the switches and everything that actually goes on the door card, as well as all the wiring harness. These bushings go to the actual sway bar. And then we got a Perrin transmission mount as well. And then over here we have the Verus Engineering lower control arm covers, which have been sitting there for like 2 months now, mainly because I wanted to install the differential bushings first, get all this stuff done, and then we can do that. I also had them before I did my coilover install, so I wanted to get the car aligned before I put them on, since they do block the lower control arm area a little bit, and it would have been a little bit harder to get everything aligned properly with that on. So I was kind of holding off on that for a little bit, until I had everything installed, and then we can put that on. So there's one thing different about my install is that I have to remove the Verus Engineering diffuser. I'm running that on this car currently, so in order to gain access to the differential bushings and even to get under the car, I'm gonna have to remove that since there's really no room. I'm gonna try to get away without having to jack the car up. I may just put it on my homemade ramps just to get a little bit more access. I really do need some quick jacks. I've been meaning to pick some up, but I am going to have to remove that to get access. And once we get that off the car, I can show you exactly where everything is and how to install it. But let me go ahead and get the diffuser off the car, and then we can get started on the install of the bushings. Well, if you guys want to know what it's like to have kids, it is nighttime now. The last clip you guys just saw was during the day. That is a good example as to what being a parent is like. You don't get as much free time as you normally get, so I had to take a little bit of a break to go do some family things, but now we're going to get finally installing the bushing. So let's go ahead. I still need to remove the Verus Engineering diffuser, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll just probably put a time lapse on there because that's not too interesting. And then we can finally get to actually installing these things. So let me go ahead, let's get that done and get these installed on the car. Alright guys, so we got the diffuser off. Took about 15 minutes or so. Kind of a pain in the butt, but we got it off. So now where we're looking is, you can see there's 2 bolts right there, 1 and 2. Those are actually 17mm. They're not the 14mm I thought. Basically, we're just going to loosen those 17mm nuts, take those off, and then slip the bushings on in those little holes. But I'm running the ETS Extreme exhaust, and this piece right here is pretty much directly in the way, at least to get to the second one on the left here. So I'm going to remove this. It's pretty simple. It's just V-bands, but it's just another step that I got to do. You can leave your sway bar in place if you do have one. Well, you do have one, but if you have an aftermarket one, you're fine. But I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece. So it's pretty much just from the mid pipe to the mufflers, and it's only, I think these are 10 or 12 millimeters. So I'm going to zip them off real quick, take this piece off, and then I'll have access to there, and I'll be able to show you guys a little bit better and have a little bit more access. So let me go ahead and get this piece off, and then we'll go and show you a little bit more there. We got the exhaust piece off. Of course, that piece fell right on my face as it released from the other sections of the exhaust. So that felt nice. A little bit of blood, but we are good. So now let's get under the car. I'll show you where we're going to be working. All right, so the sway bar is pretty much in the way of where I'm trying to show you, but you can see right here the two little holes. They're 17 millimeter bolts. So we're going to go ahead and remove them. It's a little tough because actually the spare wheel tub is kind of in the way. So I'm going to have to use a smaller wrench. I was hoping to use my impact, but I'm not going to be able to because there's not much room between the tub and the actual brace right here. I'm only going to be doing one at a time. I'm not going to take them both off because the diff is actually supported by these. So I'm just going to do one, get a bushing in, tighten it down, and then going to do the other side. So I'm probably going to start on the right one right here since it's a little bit easier to access. We do have the diff sensor right here, so you got to be careful of that, but let me go ahead, let's loosen that one up first and see where that gets me. All right, so I'm using a long breaker bar, my long ratchet, and I'm able to get access. So it's going to be a slow but steady removal of this nut. So let's go ahead and get this removed. Then we can slip the bushing on and we should be good. This one's going to be a little bit tougher since there's not as much room as you can see, but we're getting there, and that large ratchet definitely helps. All right, so we got the 17 millimeter nut off. So we're gonna take the insert out of the bushing as I showed you earlier. So it just looks like this. We're going to slip it into the one up there. You guys can't see it right now because of the bar, but we're gonna slip this in, put that right in through the actual hole of the bushing. Then we can put the 17 millimeter nut back on, tighten it down, and then move to the other side. So let's get this in and get this installed. All right, so I got one installed. Quick little note, you end up needing a jack to boost up the diff just a little bit so you can get the hole lined up with the bolt right there. Otherwise it kind of sags down a little bit and you can't line the aluminum insert up. A little tough. So have a spare jack on hand just to jack it up just a little bit. Doesn't need much, just to align it and be able to get that insert in. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the 17 millimeter bolt, and it's going to seal that and push that closer to the bushing, and we will be set, and we can move on to the one on the left. Alright guys, so install complete. Now the torque spec apparently is around 40 or 44 foot-pounds or something like that, but there literally is no way to get a torque wrench in there, at least on the ground. Maybe if it was up in the air on a lift or something, you have a little bit more access, but honestly, I torqued them down really, really tight with a larger wrench over there, and I'm confident that I hit at least 44, if not a little bit tighter. There we go, a little bit better shot of them installed. Everything looks good. I really like the gold coloring on there. Not that you're going to see it that much, but it's just one of those things that I'm going to know that's there, and looks really cool. So normally you would be done. You can clean up your tools and everything would be good, but I got to install the exhaust. I got to put the diffuser back. So I'm going to knock that stuff out real quick, and then we can wrap the video up. I'm not going to put it on film just because I just want to get this done and finish this up. So there we go. There is the Beatrush diff bushings installed and ready to roll. I'll definitely do a review on these once I get some seat time and drive time with it and let you know if I really feel a big difference or not. I should, but I'll definitely do a full video on that and let you guys know what I think. Guys, so we are finished with the install. Exhaust, diffuser, everything is back on, and we are looking good. Again, I'll give you guys an update once I get some seat time with this thing, let you know how it feels. But install wasn't that bad. It was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. There's not much room to work in, a little tight, but the hardest and I guess the longest part of the install was just removing the exhaust as well as the diffuser for me. So if you have an exhaust that you have easier access or you're not running a diffuser like me, it'll be much quicker. Either way, it wasn't too bad. The actual bushing install only took about 20 minutes or so, and that was taking my time and getting some angles and everything and filming. So it took a little bit more time, but everything lined up very, very nicely. On the second bushing that I didn't have to jack up the diff. It lined up just fine, so I didn't have to use the jack. My guess is the bushing on the right, on the passenger side, is holding a little bit more of the actual diff as opposed to the left side. So that's why I kind of sagged down when I took that one out. But either way, everything bolted up very, very nicely. The bushings went in easily once I lined it up. I'm not really sure of a way to get a torque wrench in there. So if you're really, really anal about torquing down bolts with a torque wrench, it may not be for you. Either way, I used my wrist calibration and torqued it down as best as I possibly could. I was trying to get my impact in there and just kind of use some swivel joints and all that, and I just still wasn't able to get anything in there. The space is really tight, especially with the bushings and the inserts in there. It actually creates less space than it was with just the stock bushings in there. Since the hole is not as deep and the bushings kind of bring it closer to the wheel well, the spare wheel well tub. So a little tough there, but either way, we got it done. Everything is back installed, and I'm really, really happy with the overall product. So again, I'm going to do a full review of this once I get seat time and actually let you know how it is. I'm not going to say it's great or anything like that yet because I haven't driven the car yet, and I like to give you guys actual reviews. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be installing many more driver modifications, as you see over here, very, very soon. Hopefully I can get some more done this week so we can have more videos of installs and modifications on this car for you guys. But as for this one, I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.